I love sports and I love books about sports, and I haven't seen too many people talking about these types of books on BookTube, so I figured I would do my top 10 favorite. Starting with my absolute favorite, Fever Pitch by Nick Hornby. This book, I love this book. It's hilarious and it's witty and it's really just an ode to the author's absolute obsession with Arsenal FC, an English football team. And for anyone who has ever followed sports or cared about sports, it just validates all your feelings of caring too much about your team and what it means to follow a team who is absolutely just shit and always losing, and the beauty in that. It's also a little bit autobiographical. He talks about growing up as a boy, going to the games, and as an adult, moving like right next door to the stadium. You might have read some of his other works. He wrote About a Boy, High Fidelity, A Long Way Down. But this is really his heart, I think. And yeah, even if you're not a sports fan, read this book because it will give you insight into the sports fans in your life and it will make you laugh. Number 2 is a series of essays from the collection A Supposedly Fun Thing I'll Never Do Again by David Foster Wallace. He has a few essays in that collection about tennis. A couple of them are about like professional tennis, but the one that I love is called Derivative Sport in Tornado Alley, and it's about him playing tennis as a high school student and his obsession with tennis and math and just the strange way that his mind works. And it's written in his, with his typical dark humor and postmodern absurdity, and there's just so much absurdity in youth sports already, so you can imagine it's just highly entertaining and laugh out loud funny. Number 3 is Friday Night Lights, A Town, a Team, and a Dream by H.G. Bissinger. And I know this is a movie and then a TV series, and they're both great. But the book it's absolutely worth a read. It's heartbreaking and a little bit depressing, a lot bit depressing, but just this insight into small town America and what sports can come to mean in the psyche of a place like that. It follows the 1988 Permian high school football team and their road to the championship, and really just paints a portrait of not just the boys on the team, but the townspeople that all they can think about is this football team. And I also have a personal connection to that one because both of my grandparents on my mom's side grew up in Odessa, Texas, in the high school that is featured in this book. So number 4 is Into Thin Air by Jon Krakauer. If you've ever read anything by Jon Krakauer, you know his writing style is absolutely gripping. You can't put it down. And this one, a personal account of the Mount Everest disaster. It's horrifying. It's horrifying and it's tragic, but you can't look away. And it's also incredible. It's the story of in 1996, this awful storm that hit the mountain and killed a record number of people. But it's written in his very typical grabs you and you can't let go kind of style. So, again, on the theme of climbing, this was a book that I grew up with as a kid, Banner in the Sky by James Ramsey Ullman. It was a very honor book. And it's about a boy, Rudy Matt, growing up in this small town in the Swiss Alps where climbing is a really big deal. And his father attempts to climb this mountain, this citadel, and perishes in the attempt. And Rudy decides that he's going to attempt the climb and take his father's red climbing shirt with him. And it's a really nice coming-of-age story, and I remember as a kid being really inspired by his his courage and his story. This is a fiction book, I think the only fiction book on the list. Number 6 is Seabiscuit, An American Legend by Warren Hillenbrand. Who doesn't love an underdog story? This is like the ultimate underdog story. It's about a horse that's really lazy, a trainer from the middle of nowhere, this self-made millionaire, a jockey who was, this failed boxer, and none of them really have any business being in the world of high-stakes sport racing, but they come together and somehow they create this global phenomenon, and it's absolutely a great book. I know the movie's good, but the book's wonderful. And you might know she also wrote Unbroken, which has been really popular in the last couple of years. I would recommend that. Read that if you ever want to just hate life for a little while. Okay, a couple soccer books. The Ball is Round, A Global History of Soccer by David Goldblatt. Goldblatt loves to write these ginormous, encyclopedic books about sports. His book about the history of the Olympics is on my TBR pile. And honestly, I'm only like maybe a fifth of the way into this. It's slow going. But I really appreciate the way that he looks at the cultural context and impact that soccer has had for hundreds of years. If you ever wanted to know why soccer is a big deal everywhere except America, read this book. If you ever wanted to know everything ever about soccer, read this book. The next book is also about soccer, but in a fairly different vein. This is Soccer in Sun and Shadow by Eduardo Galeano, translated by Mark Freed. And it's a series of just these lovely little vignettes. Really, he just picks out moments from either playing himself. He talks a lot about the Uruguayan national team. He talks about the different World Cups, moments of those, such as the goal by Zara, the goal by Zizino. He writes in this really lyrical, lovely way that really helps you appreciate that Latin American passion and love for the beautiful game. It's just a lovely little book. Number 9 is Adrift, 76 Days Lost at Sea by Stephen Callahan. And I know this isn't technically a sports book, but it's about adventure and really about like the limits of human endurance. So I wanted to include it. And I must have read this book like 6 or 7 years ago, and still when I think of it, I'm like instantly back on the raft with him and the sun beating down, bleaching the orange out of the canvas boat, the sharks nudging at the bottom of the boat, trying desperately to catch a Dorado with a homemade spear, and just the smell of the salt caked into his hair. And his descriptions are so vivid that you really do feel like you're surviving with him day to day on this raft. So yeah, definitely recommend this one. Number 10 is Crossover by Kwame Alexander, and it's actually a lyrical verse book, which I hadn't ever read before. I'm not sure why. I love poetry and I love books, but I hadn't. And it's about 2 twin boys that are great. They're both just basketball prodigies, and they deal with like typical high school boy stuff, girls and relationships, jealousy, but they also deal with a really tragic family event. And the way that he writes it is just I don't know, it captures like the pace of a basketball game and the small moments that make it such a frenetic, exciting sport. And yeah, I highly recommend that one. I recommend that one to like people who either aren't interested in sports, just because the beauty of the writing will definitely suck you in. But maybe to like a younger audience who isn't too sure about reading in general, I feel like maybe this kind of verse book would be more accessible. It's pretty short. It's like 200 pages, and so yeah, that was my top 10 favorite sports books. I wanted to say that I realize this list is incredibly one-sided and has no women on it. So I'm really excited because the Reading Women 2019 challenge has a section for women in sports. So right now I only have 4 ideas. In the Water, They Can't See You Cry, a memoir by Amanda Beard. I remember watching her in the Olympics. That one looks good. Then there's Dottie Wiltse Collins, Strikeout Queen of the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League by Carolyn. And I love A League of Their Own, but I don't really know that much about that period in history, which is sad because it's absolutely fascinating. And so I'm excited about that one. I also have Summitt Up, 1,098 Victories, A Couple of Irrelevant Losses, and A Life in Perspective by Pat Summitt.